Action!
Oh, running, is it?
So I thought that it would be an idea for you to talk about how you're feeling, how you felt beforehand, and how you're feeling about your upcoming surgery for total knee replacement. And also to thank my viewers for their kind wishes. And don't make faces.
I don't have to make one, I've got one. Yeah, thank you for all your wishes, all those commenting. Yeah. It's odd, really, because I suppose the knee problem's been an ongoing thing for several years. I couldn't really say when it started, but I sort of have gradually, actually fairly recently, accepted it's a sort of ongoing, progressive thing, really. And part of the problem has been that when I was doing general nurse training, I had a placement in hot orthopaedic surgery theatre, helping out, really. All kinds of things came in, including some, I think it got a feeling it might have been hip replacement. I don't really remember. I remember seeing metal joints they had to take out because they, reached the end of their lifespan, I think. And they're very impressive bits of metal. They're like sculpture, they're extraordinary things. And somehow my memory of them is that they were quite big. In other words, they replaced quite a big chunk of bone from the joint. We've been recently for an orthopaedic consultation this week with a French surgeon, and he showed me what the kind of thing they'll put in, and actually it's a whole lot smaller. So whether the techniques of and mechanisms have changed, developed, could be that. Effectively, it looks as if, because what's happening is I've got bone on bone contact to some extent without any lubrication or not much, and at the edges it looks like from the X-rays it's actual bone grinding together, and what happens is that seems to promote the bone to calcify, to try and repair itself, and that I think makes my knees particularly stiff after I've sat for a while and got up. I'm guessing anyway. But actually, it looks as if what happens is they take, I think that the top, I suppose the easiest way to describe it is like a big drawing pin with a peg underneath it instead of a pin. So that goes on. I think it looks like you take the top surface off, and that's all. From the one side of the joint, you have the whole of the cavity of the bone, and it glues in. Lord knows what cement they use. And then the other one is a bit more advanced. It's two curved pieces, but again, it looks as if they sand off the top and stick this on. So actually, what they stick in is relatively minimal to what I'd been imagining. I don't know why that should make a difference, but it feels more reassuring. The surgeon, I had to ask him, is he the one who does it? He says yes. I think he's only just come out of the sixth form. It's the old adage, that as you get older, even the policemen look young. Well, in this case, it's the surgeons. Well, the same applies to Dr. Furry, our GP, really. And how I'm feeling about it. It's difficult to know, really, because they're probably going to change and shift. I feel quite resolved at the moment. I think the Canada trip hammered my knee quite badly, and it's been a step change. It's got worse. I'm hobbling more, so I'm quite keen to get it done. It makes me feel old, and I don't normally think I'm old, bless her. And I feel disabled since Canada, more so. So I want it done. I think I've not had surgery before. I've had colonoscopy a couple of times because there's family history. So I'm due that again end of the year, I think. I'm sort of used to that. It's still annoying. You're just in for a day and out again, which is okay. This is going to be apparently you're in for 7 days post-operatively to get you up, and then I think something that you say, I think 3 months of either somebody coming here to
re-education, I think.
Re-education, they call it, to do that here. I think the alternative was Poitiers if it doesn't go well or something. I'm not quite sure if that's meant to be a threat to make it go on, but it could be. I mean, I'm sitting here at the moment. I'm more concerned about having to stay in hospital for 7 days. I'm not massively impressed by what little I've seen of, I suppose, nursing care in French hospitals, because Kathy particularly thinks they do task orientation, which I think, I'm not quite sure, it's not a concept I came across when I was doing general training, but I think in England what now happens is it's patient-centred, which makes more sense. I'm not sure that French nurse training is as intensive as it is in Britain, but I don't know. And I guess might be in the night before the surgery, I'm not sure. They didn't seem to be sure when I tried to ask, but we're supposed to have phone calls to let us know, I think, at some point.
I think they're going to call the day before. I think we were both tired and we need to look at the paperwork, but I think that they're going to call you the day before to tell you what time to come in.
Yeah.
And you've got certain things that you've got to do the night before. With, got to wash your body with betadine all over and twice.
Twice, was it?
Yeah. So
I had to do that before colonoscopy, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing it the second time.
Well, you weren't as careful the second time. I think you decided not to bother as much. Because you're a rebel.
Yeah. I mean, I have had, especially when I start to wake up, I don't know about anybody else with me, when I'm waking up, I think what I start doing is trying to work out who I am, where I am, and what my boundaries are, and that kind of thing. In those sort of vague waking states. And I have been prone to quite a bit of anxiety, I suppose, about, I can express that by saying, well, what they're going to do is cut a bit of me out and throw it away, which is a dramatic way of putting it, but I suppose that's a way of describing the sort of thing that was happening. I'm not doing that so much now, because just more used to it. Partly talking to Dr. Furry, who speaks quite good English, and I told him, well, the trouble is my memory of helping out in this kind of surgery is it's like carpentry, which it is. The tools you could buy in any tool shop, saws and hammers and wooden handles. You expect surgery to be all high tech and Star Trek, Star Wars stuff, and it isn't.
I expect that they don't have wooden handles nowadays. They probably have upgraded a
I'm
bit.
not sure.
How many years ago are you talking
this is years
about?
back, but I can remember looking through. There are big cabinets of spare instruments just in case. Not in the standard pack. The standard pack it will be set up in a tray and autoclaved and then brought back, wrapped up, ready for use. But they had a spare cabinets of spare tools, including wooden handled hammers.
You could take a couple in, couldn't you, just in case?
I thought about that. Take my Black & Decker in and
take
my
your Dremel in.
Orbital sander. But and Dr. Furry was sort of accepting my, I suppose, slightly tongue-in-cheek. He was making hammering motions and sawing motions and laughed a bit, which actually helped. I mean, I don't quite understand why it did, but it did. you know, I suppose he was sympathising really.
Oh, I think he went along with our gallows humour,
Yeah.
because we use gallows humour a lot.
Yeah.
And he's used to that with
Yeah.
us, isn't he? So I suppose he was going along with that, which is good of him.
And the surgeon the other day, I mean, he seemed to speak almost no English.
We didn't speak any English.
And he rambled on. I could just about catch up with what he was saying. I had to ask him to repeat himself a bit. But again, I don't know. I suppose there was a level of youth and naivety and innocence almost about it, which I quite liked. You know, in my career in nursing, I've come across quite a few arrogant bastard psychiatrists sometimes, not all of them, but some, and also surgeons. I do wonder sometimes whether the surgeons are more so, you know, whether people that with some level of personality disorder are attracted into surgery, or whether people become that way when they get into surgery. I'm not really sure, but
consultants that we've come across in France, and we've come across a few now, have not been arrogant. There hasn't been that same.
No.
And I do think that's down to egalite.
It could be.
Like, you know, they're just people.
Yeah.
And
not that we've come across that many surgeons.
Well, we have. Your pneumologist, the rheumatologist,
yeah, he was
my
nice.
rheumatologist,
yeah.
your colonoscopy person, my carpal tunnel consultant. So we have come quite, and they've all been just very human.
As far as we can tell,
yeah.
You know, given the language complications. But
yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing. Colonoscopy. I found I was just coming round from the anaesthetic after I'd done it, and the consultant is coming up, showing you pictures of your insides, telling you what's going on, what they've done, and I'm you know, struggling to be conscious and struggling, then beginning to struggle with French, and you know, but anyway, side issue. Yeah, so I've got over the I suppose it's a sort of deep anxiety about being cut into, and I'm not experiencing that much now. I just want to get on with it, and it's a month away. I've got to have more blood tests because Dr. Furry asked for more blood tests, which I've had done, but he must have been something off the list. And I've got to go and see the anaesthetist next week, is it? Not quite sure what they're going to find out.
And I've got a whole list of jobs for you to do before you become even more disabled.
She thinks. Yeah. So I'm sort of just feeling quite matter of fact about it in some ways. And it is a routine operation. It's done a lot. It's my mum had it done, I think, in her 80s, I think.
But she wasn't well enough to be able to report on it, was she? Because she'd already got dementia, so it was difficult to get a reasonable report from her. And in later years, you'd say to her about her new knee, and she'd go, "Oh, did I?"
Yes.
She'd have completely forgotten that she'd had a new knee.
Didn't know. She would refuse to know who I was at the time. Who came and went. Yeah, she had it done, I think, privately at Benenden, private hospital in Kent, and then went to recuperate for 3 weeks at Westview. Westview NHS still, I might be. She said it was the best holiday she'd had in weeks. I said, "Oh, that's good. You've got another knee to go. That's another 2 weeks holidays." Yeah, so I'm sort of feeling okay about it-ish. It may not stay that way as it gets closer, but I want it done. I'm hobbling about the house now. So not trying to do any.
Being weighted on hand and foot.
Yeah, hand, foot and knee.
Right, thank you. You can stop now.
Thank you. Very kind. I'll go away and stop bothering now.